I'm joined by Harry Littman of the Talking Feds YouTube channel, the Talking Feds podcast. Federal Judge Tanya Chutkan in the Washington, D.C. federal criminal case against Donald Trump in the recently unsealed superseding indictment that's being prosecuted by Special Counsel Jack Smith. Chutkan means business. She held a scheduling conference this week, and Donald Trump's lawyers tried to appeal to this is a presidential election, and, this is the most serious time, and you'll be viewed as interfering with the election. And Judge Chutkan very quickly slapped down Donald Trump's lawyers. And she goes, I don't want to hear that type of rhetoric. They go, it's not rhetoric. We're making arguments. She goes, well, I don't want to hear it. She goes, I don't care that there's an election. My job, meaningless to me. Don't even mention the word. We have someone here who's been charged. He was convicted in the New York case, but she didn't say that. She goes, we have someone here who's been charged with crimes. I have a superseding indictment in front of me, and I'm just going to treat this like it's every other criminal case that comes before me, and I'm going to move this case along. So don't make those arguments. And she said, look, she eventually issued a scheduling order where in the next few weeks, Special Counsel Jack Smith's going to submit briefing why he believes there's no absolute immunity based on how the superseding indictment is pled. Donald Trump and his lawyers can then try to oppose that and file their briefs. Then there's going to be a reply from Special Counsel Jack Smith. But it's all happening very quickly, where all those facts are going to be laid out. A bunch of new facts will probably be unsealed that I'm sure we know about from watching the January 6th committee stuff, but there may be some new stuff. But her approach here, I think, stands in contrast to a lot of the other judges who have bended to the fact that Trump is the leader of the MAGA Republican Party. He's a presidential candidate, and they've treated him special. But she's like, yeah, sorry, not happening here. Yeah. And also, the way she controlled her court. I've always said if you give Donald Trump an inch, he takes your life. You can't give him anything. So she starts off and sets the tone, even when Donald Trump's lawyers are there, like, do not give me crap. She even kind of like mocked him a little bit and was like jokey, but in a way that set the tone that, it's not the other way around. And it was just an interesting approach. Have you ever appeared before her? Have you been in front of judges like that before? What do you think about her approach? And what do you think about the schedule that she issued?
Yeah, so I've never been in front of her. She took the bench after, but I've been in front of judges like that, and I met with her. And you just made a really interesting point, I thought, Ben, which is her use of humor. She started out in the very first, the Trump lawyer said, something like, I've missed you so much. And she said, careful what you wish for kind of thing. And her approach here, she really, really knows when to be firm and what to say. So we had another conversation earlier about Mayor Chan, who actually blinked and gave Trump a delay when Lauro, the lawyer here, brought up this point. She said, I'm not looking at an election. And this is what she has said all the time, but so has Mayor Chan. I'm not looking at an election, she said. I'm looking at a 4-count criminal indictment. Boom. And she did hold for the government. What Trump totally illogically wanted to do was come in and say, well, it's this new indictment, so let me do this motion to dismiss. Actually, an interesting thing, he said, based on Judge Cannon, and Chutkan said something I didn't find particularly persuasive. So that really showed how that will go, as well as the whole view of the federal judiciary about the Cannon debacle. But anyway, she agreed with the DOJ. What their goal here, everyone recognizes this case is going up again. They're not, whatever she says about immunity, and some of it, the Supreme Court really did her no favors. The central focus of, do you rebut the presumption that official action in the form of discussions with Mike Pence, can you rebut that by showing that, really, it's Trump the candidate talking to Pence, the head of the Senate, as opposed to the vice president? We don't know what the standard is. She doesn't know what the standard is. We don't know what it means to not infringe on the function of the executive branch. So no matter what, and she said it, everybody said it in the hearing, it's going up again. And if you take a step back and you know how things work, we're talking trial in 2026, right? On the other hand, the goal, the DOJ goal, and she embraced it in her schedule basically, is to just do it once. So put it all together, do immunity. She'll let Trump pursue his motions, but simultaneous, and the focus is immunity. So it was more of the approach that the DOJ wanted, but notice one thing, the briefing starts September 26th, ends October 29th. That means nothing's going to happen in this case that will before the election, right? She's not going to have a written opinion. She's not going to make a decision, which I don't think she'll make in any event, to have some kind of evidence or a mini trial. And we would see that before the election. The briefing comes in on the 29th. So even though she's very firm saying, I'm treating this like any other case, that turns out here to mean that the actual proceedings, again, as with the other three cases, really aren't going to play out before the election. So for people who hoped otherwise, including some who hoped of some kind of mini trial, it ain't happening. But she did stay true to the line that Mayor Chan most recently departed from and said, no, don't talk to me about the election. I've got a criminal case on my hand and a criminal defendant. That's what this is about.
Donald Trump's lawyers continued to whine. This is so unfair. You're moving too quick. And she's like, I'm not moving too quick at all. This has been over a year.
Right.
So this is hardly, anything that's moving at like lightning speed. She used words to that effect. But like, here we are, Harry, right, where we've now seen, though, how the justice system should work in other cases that don't involve Donald Trump. I mean, we could even talk about Hunter Biden. I mean, just think about it. Two Hunter Biden cases during this period, not one, two, worked their way through the system, through a trial, or the most recent Hunter Biden case that involved a special counsel, which, by the way, Judge Cannon claims are not even allowed to exist in both Hunter Biden cases and special counsel. The most recent one, Hunter Biden took a guilty plea right on the eve of jury selection taking place. The other one, where there was a conviction. Hunter Biden got no favors from the judge there, who through motions in limine excluded, anything that could potentially even bring sympathy,
and it was a brutal trial for him, right? The witnesses, Bill Biden's ex-wife, his daughters,
Yeah. And so he took a guilty plea and then he was convicted. You take a look at Senator Menendez in New Jersey, Democrat, went through the system after the Trump cases were filed, found guilty, and that's the way the system works. And there was no, delays there. I mean, you take a look at George Santos, same thing. The facts and evidence came out. That's, where it's the conclusion was justice was served, and in these Trump cases, there's not really the argument that he didn't do it.
Right.
The argument is that he's allowed to do it. He's allowed to crime if it is in the context of what could be construed as official criminal conduct as a president, or official criminal conduct as core constitutional functions. And we saw during oral argument that the boundaries of what that doctrine even means was tested very clearly, where there were hypotheticals. So you believe it would be an official act in core constitutional functions to order the SEAL Team 6 or the Navy to kill your political opponents, Trump lawyer? Yes, we think that would be okay. And the right-wing Supreme Court said, we agree. That's okay. You can do that. So we're in this area, Harry, where when you see Judge Chutkan, it's behave the way we expect judges to behave and conduct herself, with dignity. And it's in stark contrast to this other gravitational pull that's, rewriting law school and our system of justice.
Well put. And I would take it even a step further, because Trump's legal arguments have by and large been crappy. His lawyering's been crappy. He says the same thing again and again. Really, the one thing that's happened, the huge legal thing that's happened for him, has been the intervention of the Supreme Court that essentially gave their own idea, very, very pro-Trump as it worked out in immunity. But he has, we've made fun with, or at least, disparaged some of his lawyering, and many judges have also treated it with hostility. But you're totally right. Some combination of really, really good luck on his part, blind good luck, and a few and pressure points applied to some judges, and then that Supreme Court immunity opinion, which casts a shadow over everything here, has made it the case that even though his arguments are lousy and his lawyering is lousy, here we go. We're going to come to the election, and there's not going to be any kind of accountability other than the fact of the conviction in the New York courts, for what that's worth. And we can discuss that. But man, oh man, he's just walked through the raindrops that way, and it, notwithstanding having, in conventional legal terms, very little solid to offer.
Well, Harry, we'll keep everybody posted. I mean, look, It seems that in terms of programming, the MeidasTouch network is going to be steadfastly focused. There'll be legal updates along the way, but in terms of the big glacial movements, that's going to be 2025 and 2026. So, assuming,
knock on wood,
assuming,
right? Assuming Trump loses, that's right. And there, even you're right, if he wins, New York case, it isn't going away, but I think it'll be suspended while he's president. But yeah, I do think that, I'll put it this way, Trump is going to be deeply involved in the legal system to the end of his days. He just had the oral argument in the civil case involving E. Jean Carroll. There'll be a lot for lawyers to discuss of the various messes and constitutional transgressions that Trump has created.
That's for sure. Make sure everybody subscribes to the Talking Feds YouTube channel. Subscribe wherever you get on YouTube. Just subscribe, and subscribe to his podcast as well. It's where I get my legal news. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.